all the other stuff and TikTok on the phone. Man, I'm going to get cross-eyed looking at this. We're live here at Genesis Baptist Church in Lenox, Alabama, January 17, 2024. Tonight, Whack an Atheist Wednesday. Stephen Woodford. I just discovered I whacked him a couple years ago with Matt Powell. I forgot that I did that. It's been so fun whacking them. Anyway, we're on Rumble. Follow us there, or on Genesis Baptist Church. Coming up in a couple days, they get a channel back. And then Dr.Dino on Genesis Baptist. We may have to give up on YouTube altogether. Go to the other ones that allow you to talk without their rules that censor anything goes against the modus operandi that they want to get across. They can accomplish a goal. That's a different story. Okay, Odyssey, Ken Hovind official, and TikTok, and they're all on Genesis Baptist Church. You can watch them all there. Here we are, old-fashioned, independent, temperamental, fundamental, right-wing, radical, chicken-eating Baptist Church. We believe the Bible is infallible, inspired, inerrant. God made the world in 6 days, and evolution is the dumbest and most dangerous religion in the history of humanity. Probably it's one of the oldest religions. That's when Satan told Eve in the garden, you can be like God. That's where I really started. Okay, we're straight north of Pensacola, 70 miles, and we think God ought to get the glory instead of the stupid evolution religion. Come visit us, 140 acres, lots to do around here. Great time. Let's see, I still got to take this honeymoon one out. That's been a long time ago. Jude and Kate, tonight. Remind me, never mind, I'll get it out of there eventually. Okay, we need some hay. Crazy weather. No hay around here. We got our cows. I was telling the folks on TikTok that we normally get the big round bales, but the cows can't get a square meal out of that. So we're looking for any kind of hay. Alfalfa hay would be great, but that stuff's expensive. We buy little bitty bales of that for $3,000 or something. And the cows, they say, thank you, thank you. We just use the animals for the kids to go get to pet them. A lot of city kids come here to tour, never touched a cow in their life, and or sheep or all kinds of animals. So just if you're coming this way and can bring some, please do. Tonight, Stephen Woodford, Rationality Rules is the name of his channel. He gets whacked tonight. So thank you, Stephen, for cooperating. Join our 777 Club if you want to help us stay open for free. Call us 855-BIG-DINO. Talk to Sandra, my wife, extension 1. Okay. Dr.Dino.com is our website. Well, I got to change that. Probably 7.74 now. Long time. PayPal. Hey, we're up 26,000 subscribers. Please help us. Everybody subscribe to YouTube channel to get the numbers up, and it does something for algorithm, whoever he is. Okay, Wednesday, Whack an Atheist. It's a game we play where atheist sticks their head up, says something dumb, we whack them back down. Oh, I forgot to change the name. Dave Farina, he needs whacked again too, but let's see, whack-a-mole game. When they stick their head up, you whack them back down as quick as you can. It's fun, it's fast. When they stick their head up, whack them, okay? Small children can learn to play whack-a-mole, and adults love it too. We wait for them to say something silly about their evolution religion, and there's no evidence whatsoever for evolution. Brother, I'd like to debate all these guys. Any of you, bring it on. Come on. You say, Hovind, you're not having an accredited degree. Well, then I should be easy picking, shouldn't I? Bring it on, okay? All right, so call Joseph, 855-BIG-DINO, extension 4, or text support at drdino.com. Let's see. A few have learned to keep their head down. Some keep sticking their head back up. We got to whack them again. Well, it's okay. I taught high schoolers 15 years. You got to keep teaching the same thing over and over again. Okay. Actually, I enjoy it. We never did. Where's that better picture? That's my idea of editing. All I know how to do is cut it square and, Okay. The winner tonight, Stephen Woodford from England. He has a channel called Rationality Rules. He whacked me. I whacked him a couple of years ago with Matt Powell. And I called Matt tonight about a half hour ago. He said, oh, yeah, I remember that. I don't remember yesterday. Matt remembers years ago. He's still got that young mind. And he responded. He said he got whacked by Dr. Kent Hovind and Matt Powell. Well, yes, Stephen, whether you like it or not, I have 3 earned doctor's degrees and 1 honorary degree. You don't want to call me doctor? Fine. Call me Kent, call me Bubba, call me Hey You. Get back to the topic. That's a distraction. If you don't think, as if it's an ad hominem attack, that's going to diminish what I teach on. Doesn't matter. If I could be a high school dropout, still teach the truth, couldn't I? Yeah. Anyway, I'm thankful Aaron Ra finally got some BS from from wherever it was, okay, by correspondence. He complains about my degree being by correspondence. He got one. It's okay, isn't it, Aaron? Yeah, okay. Let's see. Macro evolution cannot occur. Well, I'm sorry, Stephen, you are simply wrong. Let me go to, before I play your video here, let me go to, right here. There are 6 different meanings to the word evolution: cosmic, chemical, stellar, organic, macro, and micro. And None of the first 5 happen ever. He's going to start off his program saying, well, we don't talk about, the origin of life. That's because they can't talk about it. They don't have an answer for it. Let's see, whack an atheist right here. No, there we go. Okay, first I got another video to play from, did I just lose it again, brother? There, okay. This is a 1-minute video by Frank Turek. That's excellent. Ties in right here. And then we'll go to the other one from Stephen.
Who, by the way, just died about a week ago. Just had his funeral at UCal Berkeley on Saturday. Brilliant guy, died at 79 years old. Wrote a number of books. Darwin on Trial was the first one. Anyway, at one point he emailed Richard Dawkins, because Richard Dawkins is kind of the spokesperson for evolution around the world, the most prominent evolutionist out there. And he said, Dr. Dawkins, what's your best evidence that macroevolution is true? Here's what Dawkins said. The reason we know for certain we are all related, including bacteria, is the universality of the genetic code and other biochemical fundamentals. What does he mean? Most living things have the same genetic code. It's expressed in DNA, and that shows that we all have a common ancestor. Could Dawkins be right? Certainly. This could be evidence for a common ancestor. But what also could it be evidence for? Yeah, common creator, common designer, right? I mean, you could interpret the data either way, couldn't you? Could be common ancestor, could be common creator or common designer. But you know what Dawkins has already done? He's philosophically ruled out the only other possible cause other than a natural cause, and that's an intelligent cause. He's ruled out intelligent causes before he looked at the evidence, and so he says it's got to be a common ancestor. Really? He's not right about that. I mean, he could be right that it is a common ancestor, but it's not necessarily true. It could be a common creator.
Bingo. Okay, now I shut this guy down and let Stephen blabber for a few minutes here. There we go. Blabber away, Stephen, and we're going to have to dismantle some of your crazy ideas here.
Within this video, a simple but necessary clarification must be made. People very often confuse abiogenesis with evolution when they shouldn't. Abiogenesis is the study of how life first emerged from non-living matter, and it's not discussed within this video. Evolution, on the other hand, is the study of biological change over time, and it is the star of this video. Now, with that said and out of the way.
Oh, no, Stephen, it's not out of the way. You can't have animals evolving into something else until they first come to life. You want to skip over the really hard parts of your dumb religion. Where did matter, time, space come from? Where did all the chemicals come from? If your dumb Big Bang theory were true, it would only produce hydrogen, helium, a little bit of lithium. How do you get all these other elements? You want to skip over that. You want to skip over the formation of stars and planets, stellar evolution, even though that's an essential part of it. We are living on a planet, you know. How did this planet get here? Hot rock, cooled down? Why don't you talk about how illogical it is that all this Earth fit into a dot smaller than an atom? You don't want to talk about that. Then you have organic evolution, which you want to skip over because you guys don't have any answer. How did life get started? Until you can answer those, you don't have a reasonable theory. If I started off, well, if elephants could fly, what would happen? Well, stop. They can't fly. Anything else I say after that doesn't matter at all about elephants flying. So if your idea about evolution is only macro, only changes once you get life, you're already dead in the water and don't even know it or won't admit it. Go ahead, blabber some more here. I'm sorry. Where'd it go? I lost it, brother. Oh, there. Man. Panic time. I see there's a little mouse on here. I hate chasing mice around. Okay, there.
Let's get on with the video. The evidence for evolution comes from every branch of science that remotely interacts with organisms.
You can make a statement like that all you want, Stephen. That sounds real authoritarian, doesn't it? Every branch of science supports this religion. No, it doesn't. None of the branches of real science support that. See, science is what we can observe, study, test, and demonstrate. Nobody's ever observed any of this evolution that you guys believe in. Nobody's ever observed a cow produce a non-cow. So just to make that bold statement is propaganda. This is not science.
This includes, to name but a few, anatomy, biology, embryology, genetics, neurobiology, and paleontology.
There again, you name a bunch of sciences like that is somehow evidence. And most of the ones you named have been proven wrong a long time ago. Can't believe you're still using embryology, Stephen. They still teach that in your schools in England? Get a refund for your degree. It was proven wrong in 1874, Stephen. It's not evidence for evolution. None of the things you mentioned are, okay? Oh, I could whack this one for 4 weeks in a row, but let's keep going here.
Which in turn includes every subfield of these sciences, such as anthropology, biogeography, chronological dating, comparative anatomy, fossils, molecular biology, and the list goes on and on and on. And
doesn't that sound authoritative? Wow, there's just so much evidence. I asked an atheist one time, "Where's the evidence for evolution?" He says, "There's so much." We're like, "Well, name one." "Well, there's just so much." Name one. There's none. Zero. Zip. Nada. I'll take all of you on same time. 5,000 against 1 if we need to be. Okay. Let's see. All right, here we go.
On. The point being here is that everything we objectively know about the natural world both supports and improves the theory of evolution by...
There you are again, being dogmatic. Nothing we know about the natural world supports your theory of evolution. Nothing. You just made a bold-faced lie. Don't even know you're lying. You probably really believe this, don't you, Stephen? Tell you what, call 855 BIG-DINO, extension 4. Please, book him for a debate, okay? Bring all the atheists and all the evolutionists in England with you. Take you all on same time.
Natural selection, whether we like it or not.
Now, imagine you're a freshman student in high school facing a professor talking like this. Oh, professor said it. It's got to be true. This is the way propaganda works. This is not science.
This is 9 proofs of evolution, why evolution is true. Now, to present all of the evidence for evolution would take eons.
Tell you what, just call and present the best. You got 9 here. Pick the best 2 or 3, and let's have a debate on those. Or we do all 9. Different debate every night, if you'd like, Stephen. Any night. I'll take each one of these apart if I get time. None of these are evidence for your religion. None. You got brainwashed. You drank the Kool-Aid, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Here we go.
Would bore even Darwin, Dawkins, and J. Gould. And so if you're really interested in reviewing all of the overwhelming evidence for evolution, then this video isn't it. What it is, however, is just 9 lines of evidence from several fields of study which by themselves alone make a very convincing case.
Notice the nice layers of strata that he's got there. In their mind, that's evidence for evolution. Look, the Earth has layers. Yeah, and all the layers are same age. Even maybe you'd finally get some nerve to answer the question that none of the atheists answer. Your stupid geologic column does not exist anywhere except the textbook. But if the top layer's really younger, where did it come from? How can you say this dirt is younger than this dirt when all the molecules of dirt are the same age, whether it's 6,000 or 6 trillion? There's no such thing as a geologic column. No such thing. No such thing as a Jurassic age or Triassic, Mississippian, Devonian, Silurian, Ordovician. None of that exists. None of it. I showed that many times on our channel. Anyway, doesn't exist. If you think it does, take me on. Some of you professional geologists, you got brainwashed real thoroughly in your training. I'll debate you. There is no geologic column. Doesn't exist.
So, where to begin? Well,
why don't you begin by teaching the truth? There's no evidence, but you're convinced there is, so let's listen to him. Okay.
The first 2 lines of evidence I'm going to present both come from the comparative anatomy of whales to land mammals. We've long known that despite whales looking like fish, they're mammals, because just like mammals and unlike fish...
Now keep in mind, the category named fish and the category named mammal is a man-made category. The whales do not care at all how we classify them. They don't even think about it. When they go to look for a partner, they look for another whale just like themselves. Every time. We got sheep, cows, and donkeys up on our North 40, all mixed together. They don't interbreed. The sheep know what to look for, another sheep. The fact that we have classified them as different animals, they don't care. They know they're the same kind. This only San Francisco Never mind, don't get me started. Okay. So, okay, I agree. Man has decided to make a classification system, and we like to organize things in those categories. These are mammals. Okay. And because the whale swims in water, like a shark, but it's a breathes air, therefore, we're going to put it in a different category. Okay. That's a man-made classification system. The whole thing is man-made.
They give birth to live young.
I agree. Okay.
Feed their young milk via their mammary glands. Breathe through to lungs rather than gills. Have skin and hair rather than skin and scales. And they're warm-blooded.
You are correct on all of that. But what does that prove? Does that prove a common ancestry? That they diverged millions of... Do you think they both sharks and whales came from an amoeba over millions of years? You believe that? Tell you what, Stephen, has anybody in the history of the world ever seen a whale produce a non-baby whale? Has anybody ever observed that? Now you imagine, SpongeBob style, that they came from a protozoa. You imagine they're related to a tomato, don't you? That's imagination. That's not science.
Now this alone strongly implies that they share a common ancestor with land mammals.
What? Whales breathe air, give live young, nurse their babies, therefore they're related to land mammals? But that's not evidence of that. All we ever see is whales make baby whales. Stop jumping to silly conclusions based on the evidence. The evidence is whales always make baby whales. The evidence is they have some similarities to the same thing land animals do, but this whole classification system is man-made. We didn't do that. Or they did. The whale didn't do it.
But what really makes this suggestion even more compelling, and what I'll offer as a first line of evidence, is the curious bone structure of their flippers. Within their flippers, whales have, just like the forelimbs of land mammals, finger, hand, wrist, and arm bone.
And what would that prove, Stephen? You're doing just like Frank Turek said in his short video. It's true. They have some similarities. Does that prove common ancestor? Is there any other option? Think hard now for a minute. Think hard. Is there any other option? Like common designer? So you've already ruled that out. You won't even consider, which is the obvious answer. Common designer. It's a design that works pretty good. See, the whale can maneuver his flippers around very similar to the way we can move our hands around. He has to swim through the water. You can turn them, twist them, more torque on one side, more drag on the other side. Yeah. I think the whales probably like the design of their flipper. And I bet they had nothing to do with it. They were just born with it. They probably don't even think about it. Yeah.
Which can be easily explained if these bones are repurposed forelimbs.
It can also be easily explained if the same designer made them. Why won't you even tell that? Oh, you're afraid of that designer, I know.
But are remarkably hard to explain if they're not. As are.
It's not hard to explain. The same guy designed them. Chevy trucks, Ford trucks, Toyota trucks all have round wheels. Yeah, that's proof they came from a skateboard. They got round wheels too, Yeah.
These bones have very little in common with non-mammalian fins, and yet a great deal in common with the forelimbs of land mammals. Furthermore, and to invoke a second line of evidence, whales have strange bones that look like shriveled hip, thigh, and shin bones where land mammals have hind legs. Okay,
you need to watch my video series, Creation Seminar Series, if you would. Stephen, I'll send you one if you promise to watch it, okay? $50 for the whole thing. I'll give you one free if you'll say, I promise I'll watch the whole thing. In here, we talk in video number 4, lies in the textbooks, about this whale thing you're talking about. Those bones in the whale's abdomen are part of the whale's reproductive system. They have nothing to do whatsoever with walking on land. There are certain muscles that attach to those bones that allow the whales to reproduce. Whales have to mate underwater in the dark with no arms, and they can't talk and say, scoot over, honey. Okay, this has nothing to do with evolution or walking on land. It's part of the whale's reproductive system. If you're still teaching that, you're way behind on your science. You need to get up to speed. There's scientific evidence. Those whale bones are necessary for reproduction. They're not vestigial. Even if they were vestigial, stop and think. Vestigial means you're slowly losing something. That's the opposite of evolution. You need to be gaining some things. Where are the nascent organs? It's always vestigial. What are we gaining? And where's the evidence of a whale making a non-baby whale? Come on now. Where's the evidence? There's none. Don't tell kids this is one of your 9 best evidences for evolution. They have bones, and look, it's got a ball and socket joint because it'll move. Well, when you make babies, there's things have to move around. Yeah, okay. Duh.
And some of these bones, such as these from a bowhead whale, even have what appears to be a ball and socket joint.
Wow. And that's proof they came from a land animal. Tell you what, come visit Dinosaur Adventure Land. You can sit right here like Grayson did. We'll have a debate right here. Come on.
Further still, paleontologists have found numerous species within the fossil record that have...
Okay, Stephen, there is no fossil record. There is no such thing as a fossil record. Stop. There are fossils, lots of them, trillions of them probably. You want to count the microscopic ones like diatoms? Certainly trillions, maybe quadrillions of them. But there's not a record. None of them talk. None of them have a date stamped on them. And the fact that we find fossils in the dirt, okay, nobody wants to, let's see. Sorry, I can't go live with anybody else, okay? None of these fossils talk. None have a date stamped on them. And finding fossils in the dirt, all you could really prove is it died. You could not prove it had any children at all. You certainly couldn't prove it had children that lived from their bones. Can you dig up somebody's bones and prove they had children that lived? Could you prove they had children that lived that were different? Here's what you're implying here. Because we found these bones and we arranged them in some order that we wanted them to go into, therefore, that's evolution. Any freshman law student would slaughter this in an honest court of law. Your Honor, that's not evidence for evolution. Come on now. None of the fossils count as evidence. None. And there is no fossil record. There are fossils. They're not a record. I think nearly all the fossils probably formed in Noah's flood. Fossils aren't forming today, Stephen. Plenty of animals die. Colonel Sanders killed a bunch of them last year. None of them are going to fossilize. Animals don't fossilize unless they're buried under the right conditions, which is like Noah's flood would do. Duh. Okay.
Unique similarities with whales, but also varying size.
You can see the similarity between that and a whale. What are you smoking over there?
Of hind legs. Now, once again, these bones make perfect sense if they're vestigial and or repurposed.
They also make perfect sense if it was designed, because they all work pretty good. Apparently they like them. They can walk. I like walking. How many of you like walking? Yeah. Yeah. I won't mention never mind. Okay.
But they're very peculiar if they're not. Talking of vestigial traits, and to present a third line of evidence, a superb example can be found in all mammals, including you, and it's called the left recurrent laryngeal nerve. Without getting too technical, this nerve runs from the brain to the voice box, which should be a distance of a few inches. But instead, it goes down into the chest, loops around the main artery, and then goes back up to the voice box.
He is correct. Now, that's the left one. The left one goes down around the artery, back up to the voice box. The right one does not. You are correct. Does that prove evolution? We'll talk about that in a minute.
Which in the case of the giraffe results in a 15-foot detour, a mistake that no engineer would ever make.
No, it's not a mistake. You're assuming it's a mistake and then saying an engineer would never make that. You don't understand anything about anatomy if you believe that is a vestigial trait or a mistake in the design. It's an amazing design. I'll show you why in just a minute. Don't claim that's evidence for your religion.
However, in animals without a neck, such as fish, the most direct route for this nerve is indeed by navigating around the artery. And hence, if mammals evolved from fish-like ancestors, we can easily explain why this absurd design exists. But if, on the other hand...
Wait. If we evolve from fish, we can explain why this weird design works. But you can't give credit to a designer. Maybe you don't know what all it does. That nerve does a lot of things besides just go to the voice box. If you want to really get technical.
We want to insist that it was deliberately created this way by a designer. Then, well, we certainly can't call this designer intelligent.
You are going to really regret that one day when you stand before him. Every idle word men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. Stephen, I'm trying to help you. You can still be forgiven. You can still get God's forgiveness, but you've said some really stupid things about the God that you know nothing about. And he's going to be your judge one day, and every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. You're going to really regret this when you stand before God. I'm just trying to warn you. If you want to keep going, great. It's like me say, bridge is out, stop. If you want to keep driving, go ahead. But the bridge is out.
Now, the fourth and fifth lines of evidence that I'm going to present...
Let me tackle this nerve for a minute, okay? You think this is evidence for evolution. Okay, let me get too much going on here. right here. What happened? There. This happened to me last time too, brother. I get all confused. One moment here, please. Let's see. Whack an atheist, PowerPoint, slideshow. Is that what I want? No. Something. Where's that? Chase that mouse around. Where'd he go? There. That's the one I want. Okay, let's go to, I'll try this one. Function end. Yeah, pharyngeal. Okay, I can't see it on my screen, but I'll watch it over here. All right. Major evolutionary blunders: the poor design of the recurrent laryngeal nerve. Larynx is your voice box. The nerve does go from the brain down around the artery and up to the voice box. You are correct. Is that a poor design? There's several long, interesting articles about this. If you want to go down deep, stay down long, come up dry, okay? For example, can't read that. Okay. Paleontologist Donald Prothero wrote that example, poor, at least very puzzling design can be accumulated endlessly, thus proving evolution. Well, stop right there. Poor design does not mean no design. You ever seen something that was poorly designed that still had a designer? How many automobiles over the history of the cars have had some dumb ideas where somebody tried a poor design, but they sold them anyway, okay? And still worked sometimes, okay? The recurrent laryngeal nerve, which connects to the brain to the larynx and allows us to speak. Very good, I agree. In mammals, this nerve avoids the direct route between the brain and throat and instead descends into the chest, loops around the aorta near the heart, then returns to the larynx. You are correct. That makes it 7 times longer than it needs to be. Well, that's because you don't understand what it needs to do, okay? Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Is there a connection between the heart and the speaking? And not just the brain and speaking, but the heart. Apparently so, Matthew 12. Okay, let's see. I just copied this real quickly. This article is great. It's on icr.org if you want to read that. Frank Sherwin, a good longtime friend of mine, did a great article. He works there at ICR. There, full screen, okay. Most logical reason for the recurrent laryngeal nerve design is due to the development constraints. Eminent embryologist, put it back up, brother. Yeah. Eminent embryologist, professor, somebody with a German name, wrote that the recurrent laryngeal nerve's seemingly poor design in adults is due to the necessary consequences of development dynamics, not historical carryovers from evolution. Human-designed devices such as radios and computers do not need to function until their assembly is complete. By contrast, living organisms must function to a high degree. It blacks it out when you do that, brother, whatever you just did. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. By contrast, living organisms must function. You keep changing it, brother. You're driving me nuts here. Okay. Must function to a high degree in order to thrive during every developmental stage from a single-celled zygote to an adult. The embryo as a whole must be a fully functioning system in its scientific environment during every second of its entire development. It has to work from the moment it's started. Radios and computers don't have to do that, okay? For this reason, adult anatomy can be understood only in the light of development. An analogy this guy uses to help elucidate this fact is the course of a river, which cannot be explained on the basis of knowledge of its source. You say, well, that river started here, therefore I can tell you which way it'll flow. No, you can. It's not the source of the mouth. No, it disappeared altogether. Okay. Its tributaries are let's see, let me go on here. The body begins as a sphere. Okay. So your body, single cell gets fertilized, father sperm, mother's egg get together. Now you have a round ball and gradually becomes elongated as it develops. You're not a round ball. I know some people that are still round balls, but generally you're taller than you are wide. Okay. Keeps disappearing there. And some are eliminated and replaced. Other structures, including the recurrent laryngeal nerve, move downward as development proceeds. The movement occurs because the neck's formation and the body elongation during fetal development force the heart to descend from the cervical, the neck region, down into the thoracic chest cavity. As a result, various arteries and other structures must be elongated as organs are moved in a way that allows them to remain functional. Read the article for yourself. There's a ton of stuff on here about it's necessary that it be this way. This nerve goes down. It doesn't just go to the voice box. It does a lot of other stuff. Where'd it go again, brother? There we go. Much evidence exists the present design results from developmental constraints. That's the way you have to do it to make it work while it's developing. There are indications this design serves to fine-tune the larynx. It works better by the signals coming from two different sides, right and left. You study all that. The nerve serves to innervate other organs, so it doesn't just go to the voice box. From the vagus to on its way to the larynx. The design provides backup innervation, backup nerve to the larynx in case another nerve is damaged. You get hurt on one side, you can still talk. Let's see. No evidence exists that design causes any disadvantage. Seems to work fine. God said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So I'm sorry, Stephen. Don't claim that is evidence for evolution. Let me get back over here to there. Okay, still let me blabber some more. I'm sorry. Tell us more scientific proof for evolution. Right here.
Both come from DNA sequencing, which, for those of you unaware, is the process of determining the precise order of nucleotides within a DNA molecule, which, put simply, means that we can compare the DNA of one organism to another, and in doing so, see exactly how closely related they are. Needless to say, by doing this, we have made many outstanding discoveries, but perhaps the most extraordinary, and what I offer as a fourth line of evidence, is that all living things are related, and that therefore all living things share a common ancestor.
You're making a statement. You're not showing any evidence. Just to say all living things are related, that is simply not true. You don't know that. How could you possibly know that? You can believe that if you wish, but that's not science. All right, let's see.
Seriously, of the DNA that is comparable, you share 97% with a chimpanzee.
And what does that prove? Let's assume we do share 97% with the chimpanzee. What would that prove? In your mind, there's only one option, common ancestor. There is another option, common designer. How many lines of code are there for Microsoft PowerPoint, would you guess? Probably 100 million. I don't know, a whole bunch. Just lines of code to make PowerPoint work, Microsoft PowerPoint. How many people were designed? How many people were involved in developing Microsoft PowerPoint? How many people still work on it? Lots. How many lines of code are there for Microsoft Word? Oh, to do Word documents. I bet there's a whole bunch of lines of code for that too. Do those two programs have any identical lines of code? Probably millions. I bet if I go in my Microsoft PowerPoint and hit spell check, it takes me to the same dictionary that the Microsoft Word program takes me to. I bet it's millions of lines of identical code. What does that prove? They both evolved from Morse code. Everybody sees that. Okay? I'm sorry, smoke signals. Yeah. No, the same designers are writing the code. Duh. How do you guys think that's evidence for evolution? Let's assume you're right. There's 97% similarity with chimps. I don't know that that's true. You can make up that number. It said of the ones we've been able to sequence. You're talking about billions of lines of DNA code. And you think somebody's already counted them 97% similar? Nobody's even counted. I looked at each one. But okay, so you think because we're 97% similar to chimpanzee, therefore that's evidence of a common ancestor. This is the flaw in your logic. Could be common designer.
80% with a cow.
Now, I saw a lady at the mall the other day, definitely related to a cow. Okay.
60% with a fruit fly, and 50% with a banana. Now,
Banana? That's why you guys needed our help to win World War II, but that's okay.
Most of us have heard this fact before and treated it like it's just a bit of trivia, including myself. But it's far more than this. It's unimpeachable proof that all living things share a common ancestor.
It is no such thing, Stephen. It's unimpeachable proof that we have a common designer. See, if there weren't some similarities between the banana and the cow and the fly, if humans, we would only be able to eat each other. The way God made it is the brown cow can eat the green grass because it contains nutrients that he can digest and put into his system and make the white milk that I can drink and get the blonde hair. This has nothing to do with evolution. It's an amazing design in the whole ecosystem of the world. Of course, there have to be similarities, or we couldn't eat these other things and digest them and incorporate them into our body. Duh. Common designer, not common ancestor.
And considering that all living things don't look the same, it's overwhelming evidence for evolution.
You drank the Kool-Aid, son, okay? It is not overwhelming evidence for evolution. I look at the same evidence and say, wow, God, you're smart. That's amazing design. Thank you, God. You know, the banana knows how to make baby banana trees. Who taught it that? The cow. They make baby cows every time. You know why cows always have that dumb look on their face? They're dumb. They really are. We got a bunch up here. Dumb. But they still just make baby cows. Huh. But you think you're related to a cow, don't you?
And the second line of evidence from DNA that I'll present, and the fifth within this video, is that the closest living relative to cetaceans, which is a class that includes whales, is the hippopotamus, a land mammal that just...
Wow. So the whale and the hippo have some similarities. Therefore, we all came from an amoeba. That's proof. I surrender. They're right. Evolution is right.
Happens to share many very commonalities with cetaceans. For example, both mammals are nearly hairless.
That proves they're related. I've seen people bald-headed. They're related to a whale also. You know, they're nearly hairless. Yeah.
Do not have sweat glands, have remarkably thick bones, are encased in dense fat.
I've seen that at the mall too. Walmart the other day. Never mind. Okay, encased in dense fat. Okay.
Multi-chambered stomachs give birth to their young underwater, feed their young underwater, and communicate with their kin underwater.
Is there any room in your brain to even think that maybe that's a pretty cool design? And hippos seem to enjoy it. Baby hippos seem to seek out other hippos to make babies, don't they? Every time. You think they're related because of these similarities? Stop and think.
Now, all of these similarities once again make perfect sense if cetaceans and hippos share a common ancestor.
They also make perfect sense if God designed them to do that. What on earth is wrong with your thinking? Let's schedule a debate. That's not proof for evolution. It makes perfect sense that the designer wanted to make a wide variety of animals just so we would say, wow, you're really smart. How many varieties of Jeeps are there? Billy, do you know?
There are about 20.
A whole bunch. 20 of them. The Jeep Wrangler, the Jeep Cherokee, the Jeep. Everybody says, wow, I want a Jeep. I want a two-door. Somebody else, I want a four-door. Okay, so they make both. What's that proof? Somebody says, I want four-wheel drive. I want constant four-wheel drive. How many kinds of Chevy trucks are there? Do you want power windows or not power windows? How many varieties just of Chevy trucks? Just the Chevy Silverado the guy gave us. How many varieties are there of that? You want rugs or plastic mats, rubber mats? We live in a gravel pit. Praise God, it's got rubber mats. We can hose it out when we're done because it gets dirty every day. Okay, never mind. So it's not evidence for evolution, Stephen, not at all. You can dream that if you want. But it's also just as much evidence, even more evidence for a common designer. These animals are amazingly designed. Okay.
As their DNA screams, let alone suggests.
Their DNA screams common ancestor, let alone suggest. No, the DNA, all these animals scream designer. You really think a hippopotamus came from an amoeba, which came from a dot smaller than an atom exploding 13.772.005 years ago, billion years ago. Yeah. You guys are insane. That's long enough, okay? Any questions or comments here? He's got more. It's all just as dumb. There is no evidence for evolution. Stephen, open challenge. Everybody call Stephen in England. Say, Kent Hovind has challenged you to a debate. These are not evidences for evolution. Pick the best one, and we'll take just that one. You want to talk about the recurrent laryngeal nerve? Yeah, okay, we'll do that. Left recurrent pharyngeal nerve. Sure, the laryngeal nerve. It's not evidence for evolution. It's designed. It works great on the way down. It has to go around the aorta, and it triggers the nerve impulse to several other organs on the way. And maybe it ties in with what Jesus said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Maybe he knew something about anatomy since he designed us. Okay, questions or comments? Let's see. God is real as it gets and shown in big ways lately. Amen. I agree. Okay. Wu Tang Slayer. Host Destruction Zone live debate. What does that mean? Destruction Zone live debate? I'll debate anybody on their channel, my channel, Standing for Truth, on evolution. I don't want to debate all the other, there's a million topics going on. I'm sure not going to debate the flat earthers. Okay. If the earth were flat, the cats would have already pushed everything off the edge. Okay, so it's not flat. Go ahead. Let's see. Achilles. Invite Kobe Cannon to go live together. I don't know who Kobe Cannon is. Tell him to give me a call. 855 BIG-DINO, extension 1. I take calls. No, I'm extension 3. I take calls all day long, okay? I've been watching you, Kent, for a long time. Very inspired. Thank you. Well, appreciate that. Something STEM. Can't read. Jeremiah. James Telescope has disproved the Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory is not even a good theory. It's a hypothesis, okay? You're not going to squeeze all the matter in the universe into a dot. You're not going to squeeze all the energy into that dot. Stop and think. I mean, just come on, okay? Can you speak about our spirit and how it leaves the body when we take our last breath, where it goes? That's a really long subject to discuss. I don't know. I'm sure not the expert on that. I'm going to try to make that not happen to me till the very last minute, okay? What about punctuated equilibrium? Okay, I covered that on video number 4. Let's see. Thanks for shouting me out. Kobe, okay. Dan, hit something here. You're awesome. Keep up the hard work. Thank you. Any questions on the other channel?
Yeah.
Okay, put a few up there, brother. You believe Catholics are Christian? Certainly not because they're Catholic. I think the Catholic Church prevents people from becoming Christian because it teaches them to trust their works or the priest's works or Mary's works. None of those are going to get you to heaven. There's 2 religions in the world, Cain and Abel, in Genesis chapter 4. Cain brought his fruit and vegetables. Hey, God, look what I did for you. You better take me. Look how good I am. It didn't work for Cain. It didn't work for anybody ever in history. Abel brought a sacrifice, a lamb. And Jesus is the Lamb of God. If you don't have a lamb, you're not going to heaven. So I would say Catholics are not Christian just by virtue of being a Catholic, that's for sure. And it probably prevents millions from coming to Christ. Okay? Have I done the Daniel fast? No. I used to be faster when I was young, but I'm getting old now. My mom is having our family do it. It's really hard. All we eat is vegetables, fruit, and nuts. I'm so hungry. Taylor, I'll eat some bacon just for you. Billy, tomorrow morning, the bacon you cook for me is for Taylor. Okay? Okay. Why is Kent so hostile toward evolution and science in general? Well, stop, Philip. I'm not hostile to science at all. I love science, okay? I'm hostile to evolution because it's a stupid religion and should not be mixed in with science. Evolution has nothing to do with science. Nothing. Nobody's ever seen a cow produce a non-cow or a dog produce a non-dog. No, nobody ever sees this. It's imagination. Nobody's ever seen life come from non-living material. Nobody's ever seen a universe come from a dot smaller than an atom. That's not science. Let's just teach science in science class and leave the evolution religion out. It's got nothing to do with it. So I'm not hostile towards science. Okay. Kent, did a dinosaur that fossilized have parents? Yes, obviously. So those parents had children as well as brothers, sisters, and cousins and a part of the population. Well, now, crybaby, I would agree. I think we could logically conclude when you find a fossil that it had parents. You missed what I said. Read my lips here. You cannot prove they had children. So that's different than having parents. Maybe you don't know how it all works. But see, parents produce children, okay? You don't know that that fossil had children. You've never heard me say you can't prove that fossil had parents. I don't know how low the IQ scale goes, but don't fall off the bottom, okay? Let's see. Here we go. I enjoyed time visiting in November. Thanks for having me. Just wondering if you have an opinion on what the population of the world was at the time of the flood. By the end of the flood, population was 8. At the beginning, no idea. They're living to be 900 years and probably having hundreds of kids per family. They could have had a population as big as it is now, maybe bigger than the world today. First of all, the world we're living on today is mostly underwater. 70% of it's still underwater, probably from Noah's flood. A whole bunch of it is still under ice caps, 10% of the world under ice. Another 10% is deserts. So a lot of the world is uninhabitable. If the whole world was actually habitable before the flood, and what we're seeing is the junkyard left over after the flood, then there might have been a population much greater than today. I mean, here we have 3 or 4, whatever it is, percent of the world is habitable with a population of 8 billion. And even then, there's plenty of room. Drive from here to Repton, Alabama, 9 miles away. Is the world overcrowded? Come to Lenox, 30 people in our county, whole county, 12,000 people. If it's overcrowded where you are, move. Not complicated, okay? So I'm guessing, I would guess it had a population bigger than we have today. We'll find out. But at the end of the flood, only 8, okay? Is it true petrification happens faster than what scientists claim? Yeah, what was that video we showed about petrification taking place in?
The scientists can bake a fossil in 24 hours.
In 24 hours, they can bake a fossil, turn it to stone. Yeah. Under the flood would be the perfect environment to produce all these fossils. Bury them fast under mud, and then you build up that mud for, a mile thick, and it gets really heavy. And it squeezes them. You get the pressure and the heat, turns them into fossils. Petrified clams in the closed position. Whoa, who would have thunk it? They find petrified clams on top of Mount Everest. That's a little ways from the beach, like 450 miles to the nearest beach, and it's way up there. Clams don't climb mountains well at all. Without oxygen, they can't do it, okay? There was a flood. All right. Recent update on the full chimp DNA is 58%. I don't know. Could be. Could be. I don't know. Even then, it still says common guy wrote the code. That code is more complex. The DNA code is more complex than all the computer codes ever written by man combined. Oh, how many different computer programs are there? Lots. How many lines of code, if you put them all together, how many people spend there all day, full-time, writing lines of code? A whole bunch. Computer programmers, they're called. A lot of people doing that. And they still haven't come up to the DNA of one human code DNA. Do you ship your material internationally? Oh, yeah, all over the place. Call 855-BIG-DINO or go to drdino.com, order it. Billy, or Bobby, you do the international shipping. What's it cost to ship a seminar set to overseas? Or is it, what? Louder. $16? Okay. To ship it internationally. Yeah, we do it all the time. And we have them in several languages. You can contact Bobby about that. Okay, thank you for the question over here. I agree. I don't believe that we are on a ball. Okay. Okay, go show me the edge. And then I want to see what's on the other side. I mean, if it's a flat, what's underneath? There's a lot of room over there. No, it's a big ball. Sorry. Okay. There was an ice canopy at one time, but that's no more. Yes, I agree. I very strongly believe in the ice canopy theory. There was a layer of ice above the Earth's atmosphere, squeezing it down. There's a little snow globe, okay? The Earth had maybe just 10 miles up a complete layer of crystal ice, super cold, that protected it from UV light, blocked UV light, some blocked X-rays, gamma rays, beta rays, all them ray boys come down here. And that also increased the air pressure. It's one of the many reasons why we find giant insect fossils. 2-foot grasshoppers, 30-inch dragonflies. They couldn't fly today. The air's too thin. Under compressed air, greater oxygen, they could fly just fine. They breathe through spiracles. I cover all that on video number 2 of my series. Okay, let's see. The firmament is sky, space, and heaven, nothing more. Well, you need to watch my video 2. There are 3 heavens mentioned in the Bible. Paul said he was caught up to the 3rd heaven. First heaven is where the birds fly. Read Genesis 1. The firmament is where the birds fly. That would be the atmosphere we're breathing. Then it says there was water above the firmament. Read it carefully, Genesis chapter 1. That would be the ice canopy up above. Then it says the stars are in the firmament. That's the 2nd heaven where the stars are. We call that outer space. The 3rd heaven apparently is where God lives. I want to cover all that in seminar part 2 of my award-winning series, Creation Seminar Series. You can get on drdino.com. There you go, $50 for the whole thing, 18 hours. Okay, let's see more. How far down is it off the edge? Well, if you fell off the edge of the earth, where would you go?
Have you heard of the expanding Earth?
The expanding earth.
Earth used to be smaller before the flood. That was Peleg, and it expanded.
Oh, it expand? No, I don't buy that at all. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, the cats definitely would have pushed everything off the edge if this is flat. Okay, that's long enough. I'm tired. Okay, tomorrow we have comments on comments. Send your comments into these, and we'll take as many as we can. And after every program, we try to do this. And then Friday night, another evidence this earth cannot be billions of years old. I know that's the pacifier you atheists rely on. You have to have billions of years for your theory to look good. It has to be. Time. Oh, that keeps you happy, doesn't it? Keeps you from crying. Sorry, we're going to pull your passy tomorrow night or Friday night. See you then. Bye.